Good afternoon, good evening, students. I hope you're doing good. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're back with another video concerning sociolinguistics. As you can see, today's lecture is entitled Bilingualism and Multilingualism, and we will have one last lecture another day entitled Language Planning. Okay? Before I start, as usual, I invite you to like the Facebook page of this channel in order to be notified whenever I post something new, and also subscribe to my channel if it's not already done. That would encourage me to do more and help you out during the period of exams. With that being said, we shall start with bilingualism. So, what do we mean by bilingualism? Bilingualism is the phenomenon of speaking and understanding two languages. Okay? And this term refers to individuals. This is what we call individual bilingualism. And it can also refer to a society. This is what we call social bilingualism. Okay? And bilingualism is the individual or communities, like I said, communities use and command. This is very important, command. It means not only the individual or the community knows how to use more than one language, but also they have to master these languages. Okay, and then we move to patterns of bilingual children types. Okay, so this refers to bilingualism in kids, because the notion of bilingualism starts when we are kids in general, because it is the period of life when it is easier for us to acquire new languages. Okay, if you want to read more about that while we are predisposed to learn new languages when we are kids, you can read the works of Chomsky or William Labov, and also Hudson. Okay, so patterns of bilingual children types. We are going to deal with immigration, migration, close contact with other groups, marriage, growing up in a bilingual society, children from minority groups. Okay, so we start with immigration. Immigration is when family or family members move from one country or continent to another. For instance, if you take people who go with their kids to live permanently in France, that's immigration. Therefore, these kids usually it is easier for them to learn and acquire a new language. Okay. Then we have migration. Migration is when family members move from one country, or if you want a continent, to another, but it's temporarily. Okay, it's not permanently. For instance, if you take Syrian parents and their kids move in to live for a limited period of time in Turkey due to the war in their country, so they had to go away from war, and they settle temporarily in Turkey. And therefore, their kids usually are predisposed to learn a language, or the Turkish language. So then we have close contact with other groups. It is when kids acquire a second language outside their homes. For instance, if you take the Algerian Kabyle kids who study all the subjects in French at private schools. Okay, not only Kabyle, but also Algerians in general. But usually, when you speak the Algerian dialect, or when you speak Kabyle or Shawi or whatsoever, and then you are not sent to study in a public school, you are sent to study in a private school. They will teach you using the French language. Therefore, you are going to acquire a second language from that private school. Okay. Then we have marriage. Marriage is when a woman speaks one language, marries to a man speaking another language. Okay, and their kids are likely to acquire both languages. For instance, if you take the Algerian context, of course, I'm going to try to give you some examples that are closer to close to our context, or even our culture. And for those who are not Algerians, it is the perfect opportunity for you to get to know a little bit of different cultures. Okay. So, a child whose mom is Kabyle and dad is Arab, so their kids can speak Kabyle and Arabic. Okay. When I say Arabic, although Arabic is taught at school That is called classical Arabic. But when it's about marriage, when it's about personal life, usually the Arabic we speak is it's a dialect that we call the Algerian dialect. Therefore, to be more precise, we need to say that the kid or kids in general can speak Kabyle and the Algerian dialect. Okay, as of course they will learn Arabic if they go to the public school. And we have growing up in a bilingual society. It is when people of one society talk two different languages. Okay. When I say languages, it can be two standard languages or dialects, as they can be colloquial dialects. It doesn't matter. So, for instance, if you take Spanish and English in Miami City, okay, in the state of Florida, that's a bilingual society because they speak Spanish and English. So, Spanish is a dialect, but English is the standard dialect, okay? So that's what I wanted to say about two different languages or dialects. And we have children from minority groups. What do you mean by that? It is when kids come from minor speech communities trying to learn the language of the majority. And they learn the language of the majority in the environment of the majority. For instance, if you take Spain, Catalonian kids speak Spanish because the latter is the language of the majority. Okay, because Spanish is the language of the majority. Then we move to the types of bilingualism. First, we have horizontal bilingualism. We have it means when two languages are equal in official, social, and cultural status. Okay, and this is found in some countries, such as English and French in Quebec, in Canada. Both of them are official languages. So that's what we call horizontal bilingualism. It can be found also in Algeria. If you take, for instance, classical Arabic and Tamazight, okay, both of them are the official languages of the country. And then we have what we call vertical bilingualism. It is the existence of two dialects of the same language where one is official and the other is colloquial. Okay, I have already explained the meaning of SD and CD. You see, SD is standard dialect and CD is colloquial dialect. Standard is prestigious and CD is not prestigious. For instance, if you take the Algerian dialect and classical Arabic, okay, both of them are spoken in this country. Both of them are spoken in the Algerian country, but the Algerian dialect is CD, while classical Arabic is SD. Okay. And this phenomenon is also called, you can find it under another name that we call bidialectalism or diglossia. Okay. Then we have the last type is diagonal bilingualism. It's almost like the vertical bilingualism, but not exactly. It is when a country uses a standard dialect of one language and a colloquial dialect of another language. You see, vertical bilingualism is the existence of two dialects of the same language. For instance, you take classical Arabic and the Algerian dialect. They are from the same language. Classical Arabic gave birth, so to speak, to Algerian dialect. But diagonal bilingualism, it is, for instance, if you take classical Arabic as the official language of the Algerian country and Kabyle, which is a dialect of Tamazight. Okay, so this Kabyle or this language that we call Kabyle is the dialect of another language. Okay, this is what we mean by diagonal bilingualism. Then we have motivation for becoming bilingual. We have two main motives for becoming a bilingual. We have what we call instrumental motivation, which is the use of efficient, if you want, practical and useful material to enhance the L2, the second language. Okay, L2 learning, if you want. The use of dictionaries can be useful. Online platforms, if you want booklets, informative websites, instructional YouTube tutorials, and Also, many we have many utilitarian, materialistic means. Okay, then we have intergravitation. Intergravitation is to gravitate, comes from the verb gravitate. And it is basically to move to others' communities. So instead of learning English, for instance, at home, you will travel to England or to the United States of America. Okay, so it is to move to others' communities and be attracted to their differences. You will get to know their cultures, and you will have access to their language as well. This will help understand, communicate, and also talk and write in that new language. And it will be easier for you to master it. Okay? It is better to learn a language when you live with their culture and the people, the natives. It is better to learn a language, a foreign language, that way than learning it at home or online. Okay. Then we move to multilingualism. Multilingualism is also known under the name of polyglottism. Okay, polyglottism. It refers to the ability of mastering more than two languages. So if you master two languages, you are bilingual. If you master more than two, it means you are multilingual. Okay. And when I say mastering more than two languages, it can be either by an individual or by a community. Okay. And multilingualism is a form of language contact, and not all speakers have to know all the languages fully. This is the difference between bilingual and to be multilingual. Because to be bilingual is to master both languages. Okay, you have to master them. But to be multilingual, you do not have to master the languages entirely. Okay, so you either master a language actively, maybe through talking, writing, and singing, or passively through, for instance, perceiving, reading, and listening. Okay, for instance, we take an example. Canada is a multilingual country, having plenty of languages and dialects, but only French and English are selected to be official. Okay, even Algeria is a multilingual country. You have Classical Arabic, the Algerian dialect, you have Tamazight in general, you have Kabyle, you have Shawi, you have Turki. All these are dialects, and they exist within the same country, and you have a lot of people who speak these languages, so the country is multilingual. Okay? Then we move to the last point, which is types of multilingualism. So we have first official multilingualism. It is the selection of more than two languages to be named official. Okay? When I say official, it means they are official languages of a given country. For instance, if you take French, German, Italian, and Romanish, there are four national official languages of Switzerland. Okay, this is what we call official multilingualism. However, okay, there's an exception. Most Swiss people are monolingual. They only master one of the four languages that I mentioned: French, German, Italian, Romanish. Okay. It is called a territorial multilingualism. That is to say, a language is spoken in one territory but not in the other. But still, these four languages are named official languages of the country of Switzerland. Therefore, the country has what we call official multilingualism. Okay? Then we have de facto. De facto is the existence of more than the official languages selected for a country. Okay? It refers to a society that masters the official languages of its country plus other languages and or dialects. For instance, in Canada, like I said before, is a country of more than French and English being spoken in Canada. But officially there exist only French and English, but socially there are so many other languages brought by different ethnic communities and immigrants, if you want. For instance, Hebrew, Kabyle, Kurdish, Spanish, Persian, Indian, Chinese, Vietnamese, Italian, Arabic, Portuguese. Okay, so all these languages are spoken in Canada, but they are not official languages. The only official languages of Canada are French and English. You see, even Algeria can be considered as de facto. For instance, we have Tamazight and Algerian dialect. Sorry, the classical Arabic are the official languages of the country, but we have other dialects spoken in the country, such as Kabyle, Shawi, the Algerian dialect. We have many other dialects in the Algerian context. Therefore, they need to be taken into consideration. Okay. So that would be it for today's lecture. If you have any kind of question, feel free to ask them in the comments below. You are also welcome to contact me on my Facebook page or my personal Facebook profile. That would be okay. And you can also message me on Instagram if you want. I will answer you as soon as I see your comments or also your messages. Do not forget, if you want to join the Facebook group that we have created, again, you can ask your questions there. And if you want just to ask questions concerning English in general, you are mostly welcome. We are going to go live soon. We're just waiting to have a specific number of people so that we can make it a bit beneficial for everyone else. Yeah, so don't hesitate to stop by. I will leave you the link on the description below. Otherwise, I tell you, see you in the next video. Peace.